Hello, dismembers. Welcome to more Gore movie reviews. I'm Jen. So let's talk about Netflix for a minute. They have been uploading a lot of stuff. Almost said shit. Some of it really is shit, and that's what today's video is about, unfortunately. I like Netflix on the whole. Some of the shit I don't like. I don't like that they canceled Santa Clarita Diet. That was bullshit. They seem to cancel shit I like, but they keep shit that's ridiculous on for way longer than it should go. That's neither here nor there. Their recent horror movies that they have uploaded, I already did a review for the movie I'm Thinking of Ending Things. That was terrible. So today I'm going to do a live, a Korean horror movie. I believe it's Korean. Excuse me if it's not. I apologize. I believe it's Korean. Now that's gonna bother me. I'll update in the comments below if it wasn't. Also, there's one, and I would very, very, very lightly call this horror. It's more drama suspense, in my opinion. Devil All the Time. Brilliant cast, but we'll get into that. And then Babysitter 2, Killer Queen, which I was really excited for. I loved the original Babysitter movie. And we'll do a little bit about that movie as well, because there's got to be something good in this shit parade that I'm calling. I don't even know what I'm calling it yet, but it's a string of fails on Netflix's part to deliver. Are they going to be coming out with some good stuff? The Blythe Manor, the Haunting. Okay, if you watch the first season of that, Haunting of Blythe Manor, it was really good. I actually really enjoyed it, and they're doing a second season, and it looks good. I will wait patiently for that. There's an Adam Sandler Halloween movie coming up, and I'm just, we won't go there right now. Let's start with The Babysitter. Babysitter 2, the movie that there's going to be movies, and I like to try to watch them all the way through, but if they're that terrible to where I'm just like, oh, I can't, this is grating so hard on my nerves. I'm surprised I made it through to the end of I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I think I was just waiting for a payout that never came, and I was just hoping that it was gonna pay off. I couldn't even get through. I think I made it through the first not even the first hour of Babysitter 2, and I had to turn it off. I couldn't anymore. It was just such a kick in the balls. I don't even have balls, but I imagine if I had them, that it would feel like I got kicked in them. Okay, it felt like a hard slap in the tits, because sometimes that shit hurts, like really bad. It's not always fun, guys. Sometimes, not all the time. So anyways, okay. A surprising hard smash to the tits. There you go. The Sage does that shit to me all the time. I'll just be sitting or laying, and he's like, oh, these are your breasts, I will smash them. Fucking, I love him to death, but sometimes get the fuck off me. Babysitter 2, tried too hard. That should be the subtitle of that review in a nutshell. The first one was funny in spots where it was not trying. Again, it was kind of like that organic dark humor. It's like they wrote the movie to be serious, and then certain shit while they were writing is like, actually, this is kind of funny. Those are the movies you can tell where it's like, okay, I'm gonna put some comedic elements to it, dark humor, but the intent originally was to kind of be maybe a little more on the serious side. I like my dark humor peppered. It doesn't have to be fucking over the top. And the dialogue alone in Babysitter 2 made me eye roll through like the whole fucking time I was watching it. It was very like in your face, capitalizing on the success of this first movie. It was very McG, which pisses me off. He's the one that did the first one, and I was very surprised because he did fucking, what did he do? He did the Charlie's Angels movie with Drew Barrymore. He's done like a bunch of action shit. He kind of reminds me a little bit of, oh my God, who's the guy that everybody fucking makes fun of? Michael Bay. Kind of reminds me of Michael Bay, like a little more under the radar than him, but like the movies that he does, he probably does a couple other good movies, but the movies that he does outside really fucking scream Michael Bay to me. So I was like, what the fuck? I'll watch this anyways because I like Samara Weaving. If you have not seen Ready or Not, go see it. It's a great movie. She stars in it. She's fucking amazing in it. She's just great. And she is the main character in this movie, aside from the little boy who's no longer a little boy. He grew into a handsome man. It's obvious he's older than the kid that he has to portray, and that's what happens when Netflix waits too long to do sequels. Your kids grow up. I mean, those poor Stranger kids, they're fucking Stranger adults now. Still great. Really excited for the next season. And also there is a pop-up, I don't know if you can even call it that with the scale of this, but Netflix is doing an entire drive-through experience. It's an hour long and it's in LA this season. Tickets last we checked were all the way sold out until January. I don't even think I'm going to be able to get in. I wish, I hope. Maybe I'll get so great, famous that Netflix will throw me a bone. That would be great, but probably not. Somehow I'll get to see it, I'm sure. And I'll talk about that if I ever do. Stranger Things is great. Binge that if you have nothing to do on a weekend. It'll take you quite a bit of time to get through the first few seasons. It was just too much. It was too fucking much. They tried to capitalize on the first one, but they ruined the spirit of the first one. The first one was when you were trying to figure out, and it was kind of a surprise. It was, I saw it coming, but it was still a good enough of a payoff to where the surprise was worth waiting for them to get to. The Babysitter 2 was just forced, so forced. I didn't like the plot to it either. I think there is, I mean, you can tell from the trailers they brought back a lot of the characters from the first one, but they brought back the wrong characters from the first one. I would have rather had one character, I don't want to spoil anything, come back. She might have actually come back, and I just didn't even watch to the end to get to that point. But I just couldn't even make it. It was that bad. And if your movie is that bad to where I have to try to really, really force myself to keep going, that's bad. And I don't even think having a good payoff in the end is going to make me review it any better. So what's the point at that point? It's just a bad movie, in my opinion. You can't go that long, that bad into a movie to where I'm like, okay, I can't anymore. Because I'll give it at least 35 minutes. You know, I'll give what's called the slow start, head start of like, okay, maybe this is just slow, or maybe they're trying to find their footing, or maybe this is shitty for a reason. Maybe, there's like something that's going to happen that's going to excuse or explain everything that's happened up to this point that's been terrible. Highly doubt it. I can't even think of a movie that's done that so far. So I had to turn it off. It was just that bad. Would I recommend it? No. Would I recommend the first one? Yes. Let's talk a little bit about the first one. Because my ultimate standing on the second one is not worth it. Not even worth a once over. If you're a fan of the first one, don't watch it. If you have no intention on watching the first one and you're bored and you're just like, meh, and you don't care, then just go ahead and watch it. You might actually like it if you haven't seen the first one. You would like it if you just like shitty fucking throwaway dialogue of, it was bad. I'm not even gonna, it's not worth spoiling anything really. So I won't. The Babysitter, the original one though. Great cast. Which it's a shame because they kind of ruined the characters the second time around that did come back. It just kind of negated everything they did. I wish I didn't watch it. First one though, first go around, they were great. Every character had its own thing to contribute to the chemistry of the movie. There was no scene stealer really, aside from Samara Weaving, who was meant to, because she's the main antagonist, if you will. So, I mean, the main kid is so good. Child actors, and I've talked about this before, they're really, really good or they're really bad. There's no in between. Shh. Boo boo. Hey. I'm so sorry. So, he hears shit outside all the time. So anyways, Babysitter, the first one, great suspense the whole way through. Good payoff, great jokes and gags. When you see in horror movies, like I'll give an example of The Gate, right? When kid-focused horror movies go right, they go very right. It's an adventure. You're caught up in you get invested in their survival. That's a good point. Not all kids make me invested into their survival, which is a good segue for my next review. So anyways, we'll cap that off there. The Babysitter is good. Please go watch it. That's on Netflix. Don't waste your time with the sequel. Moving on to Alive. Alive, invest into he's not a child, he's a teenager. A teenager's survival. I was not. I really didn't care if this little shit lived or died. I was just kind of like, the shit he was doing, I was just so annoyed. I'm so annoyed, I think, with teenagers in general. I'm sorry. Like, not all, obviously, but like I'm annoyed by the teenage culture that I see in the media. Let's say that. TikTok, fuck that. Fucking the gaming obsession of like live streaming the playing. I get it because there is kind of a sense of community, but I'm also just like, man, really? Like, why not actually go out together and with friends and do things outside? I don't know. I guess I'm old. I don't know. I get gaming and I do game also, but I mean the obsession of the hours that get I wouldn't say wasted because it's entertaining and they feel like they're bonding. I don't know. I can't relate to teenagers. Let's just put it that way. And I'm sure I'm not alone. But this little kid, like his whole world, he like the first few scenes, he's still trying to like live how he was and keep that lifestyle. Even in the middle of the zombie apocalypse, I'm not convinced that he's really that remorseful that he's stuck, because that's the whole thing. He's stuck in the apartment during the zombie apocalypse. He's one of the few left. I mean, we've seen this before. There have been movies that have done it better. I wish I fucking remembered to do my research. Bad girl. There is a French, I believe, zombie movie that had the same exact concept, but it was a man. It was a grown man. And he was stuck in his apartment. Look it up. That movie was better. If you're going to watch a movie, don't watch Alive. Watch this other one. It was French. Man stuck in an apartment during zombie apocalypse. Way better. Way better. Execution. This one, the zombies themselves were cool, but the makeup and the little gags that they did do, with the parts falling off or whatnot and the kill scenes and that didn't make up for the plot. they just took too long, I think, to get to the meat. Even when they were starting to get to the meat, I was just like, ugh. So ultimately, I had to turn it off. I couldn't force myself. I just was not feeling it. I was kind of on my phone. I found myself on my phone through pieces of it because I was just annoyed. I was annoyed by the kid. I was not invested in his survival. I kind of didn't care if he lived or died. In fact, it would have been better, in my opinion, if he did die and then they focused on a whole other character out of left field that you never even saw coming. That would have been like, fuck, didn't see that coming. Okay, like, he's dead. I'm fine with that. Let's keep going. Who else? Who's next? I don't know. I think that if you are younger, you might enjoy it, but I think maybe as a seasoned adult, you won't. I don't know. Comment if you've watched it and you're an adult and you kind of know what I'm talking about. I'm interested. Am I wrong? I mean, if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me and be like, no, I thought this, or, you know, it's you. You're just a curmudgeon and totally jaded. I'll take that. It is what it is. You are who you are, right? So, Alive. Couldn't get through it. Could have been a decent payoff. There's a girl in it that gets introduced who's way smarter, way cooler, but even like they were taking a while even after introducing her to kind of get to her stuff, and I was just like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I had to turn it off. Would I recommend it? No. Even as a no once over even, I just look up that French movie I was telling you about. If someone does and puts it in the comments, I would love you forever. Thank you. I'm so sorry that I forgot to do that. In fact, I will probably find the link to that trailer and put that into this one as well in the comment section and the title of that movie so you can watch it. I don't know if that was on Netflix or not, but I'll definitely link that information below. So, third fail. Devil All the Time. This one is hard because it's barely a fail. I barely stopped watching it, but honestly, I think I'm biased in why I had to stop watching this movie. I would say if you might like it. I personally didn't, but that doesn't mean that it's not a good movie, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I think if you can handle the depression, watch it. I am not opposed to dramas all the way. I steer away from them for the most part. This one sounded like they were peppering it with horror. So I was like, okay, they're loosely calling this a horror movie. So I was like, I'll watch it. It was suspenseful. Shit, horrific human situations is what it comes down to. And that's, I think, how they got away with barely calling it horror, because the human situations were horrific. The things that happened to these people are horrific. But it's like, it teetered so bad. It kind of gave me the same feeling of I'm Thinking of Ending Things, where it has this thing where I'm keeping you in the suspense until I tell you what's happening. And then you get to the point where you're just over it already. You're like, okay, is it a fucking evil presence, or is it just a bunch of assholes doing shitty things to each other? Can we, like, I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, I need some clear evidence here that this is like something outside of these people, or just the point of the movie is that people are the scariest monsters. Which, okay, but don't bait and switch me. I don't like that. I hate that. And that's probably what pissed me off enough to call it a fail, because it was good in its own way. It's good if you're not expecting a horror film. I'll say that. It was misery porn. It was just depressing, kind of creepy, suspenseful, depressing is the chart of how that goes. The cast, though, Tom Holland. I love Tom Holland. I have a special place. It's not like it's not like I mean, I would, but like, it's not a pure sexual attraction to Tom Holland. I have a crush on Tom Holland. I want to like date Tom Holland. I want to get to know Tom Holland aside from just, banging Spider-Man. I would love to have a beer with him or something. But he was great. Robert Pattinson I love his role choices lately. He was good. But towards his part is when I had to turn it off. And it's hard to say whether the main reason for that was because I was just tired of the misery porn. I'm tired of being slow jerked for the fucking, is this supernatural or is it just fuckery? I think a big part of it has to do, and this is a spoiled part. I'm going to give people a chance to get off now because really there's nothing. I'm going to finish wrapping up this and then, that's it. So would I recommend it? You know what? Actually, yes. Like I said, if you don't expect a horror movie and you're just like, you want a good, like, dramatic, suspenseful movie, yes. Actually, I would say to watch it. The acting of Bill Skarsgård is great. I actually didn't like him in it. I thought he was too comical. We'll go over that some other time. And Hemlock Grove is where you could tell he was cutting his teeth, and I don't think he mastered his craft yet. In this movie, he's really good, and I give him kudos for that. All the actors were great, and not one of them was bad. I think that there's even actors that they could have utilized a little more. So watch it. Watch Devil All the Time if you don't, if you're emotionally prepared. So, Spoiled Rotten in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When Robert Pattinson's character comes up, he is a pastor. He's a preacher. And you can already tell that there's going to be some fuckery afoot because if you've been watching the rest of the movie, you know that nothing good ever happens in this movie and everybody is fucking terrible. Except for Tom Holland. Anyways, such a weird crush. Side note, if you have not seen Lip Sync Battle, there's one he did with Zendaya, which I'm jealous of her because she was with him for a while. There's one he did with her, and he did Umbrella by Rihanna. Watch that. I don't care if you like him or not. Watch Lip Sync Battle, Tom Holland, Umbrella, YouTube. You will not be disappointed. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, a fucking alien. I don't care what you identify as or what your sexual preference is. If you watch that, you're Tom Holland. That is your new sexual preference. So, anyways, back to this bombshell. It's very personal. Switching gears. One of the reasons I think that I did not like this movie, and I'm biased because of it, is I am a sexual abuse survivor. I have been raped. I have been molested. So when it comes to movies that have sexual abuse, it either is effective for me or it's not. And when I say that, I mean it's effective in the way of it bothers me, but it's okay because it was conducive to the rest of the movie and the plot, and it disturbed me in the right way of like, it was legitimately disturbing. I have said before, I enjoy being genuinely disturbed. But if it touches too personally, it goes over the edge of, okay, that really terrified me, being a survivor of that experience, but you know, it worked for me to make that a selling point to keep me engaged. Because of the combination of the other elements of this movie, I was already irritated with when it got to that personal point and the manipulation tactics that Robert Pattinson's character used to molest this girl. It triggered me to the point where I was just like, you know, speaking of it previously, that with the father and the girl's scenes was effective. This was not. I was so tired and emotionally exhausted at that point from the rest of the movie that was the final, like, ugh, I can't anymore. I'm just depleted completely. This misery porn bus made its last stop. So I am biased. And that's why I can't truly say this movie was a fail. Please watch it if you know, can hang with that. And you're not, I'm pretty cool about, like, it doesn't affect my normal life. I'm not a sex addict. I'm not continuing the cycle of sexual abuse or anything like that. You know, came out pretty good considering, you know, the circumstances. A lot of people get fucked up and it fucks with their orientation, their sexual life. I made it pretty unscathed, thankfully, out of that experience, and I'm still a pretty decently well-rounded person. But if you're still struggling with sexual abuse and things like that, maybe don't. Maybe just skip this one. It's not worth that. No movie is worth that. So, switching gears again and sorry for being Captain Buzzkill and bringing it real for a minute. For the most part, this, you know, entertainment, but, you know, I am a real person and I go through real shit and I have to be real, and I would be discrediting and, you know, doing a disservice to my viewers if I wasn't honest 120% about my review and my experience with the movie, and if I can help somebody else avoid some very uncomfortable, emotional experiences, then I will. All right? Thank you guys so much if you hung in there. I promise I won't be sad Susan all the time. But have a good weekend, and I love you. Bye.